Welcome, listeners, to a deep dive that's all about getting you well-informed fast. Today, we're taking a close look at a new release from an author many of you know and love, Emily Henry. Her latest, Great Big Beautiful Life, it just came out April 22nd, 2025, and it's definitely creating some buzz.
It really is.
So our mission here is to really distill the core of this book. It's this unique blend of romance, mystery, and intergenerational storytelling.
Okay.
We want to make sure you grasp its layers, its surprises.
And what's really insightful, I think, is how Henry, who we know for these like witty rom-coms, right? She fearlessly strips back the usual setup.
Yeah.
It's not just a meet cute. She digs into the raw complexities of inherited trauma, ambition. It's a deeper look.
Definitely not just a love story then.
No, it's more like a forensic examination, you know?
Yeah.
How do our family's untold stories actually shape our choices, even the really intimate ones? We're going to pull from multiple sources here, give you the full picture without, drowning you in details.
Okay, let's dive right in. So the structure is one of the first things that jumps out, isn't it? It's quite inventive.
It really is.
You've got these dual timelines right away. There's this high-stakes competition happening in the present day that's the hook.
Right.
But then you also have this really rich family saga from the past unfolding alongside it. And that mix tells you immediately, okay, this isn't going to be the usual Emily Henry romance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the genius of that structure, I think, is how the present-day stuff unfolds. While Henry uses the past to build this incredible suspense. It makes you question everything you think you know about these characters, their motives. Keeps you guessing, really.
So what actually sets the stage? We're following Alice Scott. She's a journalist, bright, hopeful. She gets a tip, leads her to this place, Little Crescent Island. Sounds kind of mysterious.
It is.
And there, this reclusive heiress, Margaret Ives, invites Alice, and also importantly, this Pulitzer winner, Hayden Anderson.
Competition.
Yeah, to compete in this month-long audition. And the prize, to write Margaret's biography. I mean, just imagine that pressure.
Oh, yeah. Two top journalists basically locked in this contest for a potentially huge store.
What's your take on why Margaret would do that? Like, orchestrate this whole thing? Does it reveal something specific about her?
I think it absolutely does.
Yeah,
It's a brilliant way to reveal character, right? Margaret's real motivations are like the central mystery driving things forward.
Okay.
And as it goes on, you see the dynamic shift. You've got Alice with her infectious optimism clashing a bit with Hayden's more reserved professionalism. And yeah, that forced proximity thing is classic romance setup. But it also makes you wonder, how much of their connection is real versus just a product of this weird, intense situation.
Especially with the NDAs. They can't even talk about what they're learning from Margaret.
Exactly. But despite that, you see friendship building, attraction, romance. It happens naturally, but within this really high-stakes professional cage almost.
Yeah. And then there's Margaret's own story, which is where things get really juicy, I think.
Oh, definitely. Through the interviews Alice and Hayden do, we get these flashbacks. Her past as this, tabloid fixture, raised in a big media dynasty, a whirlwind marriage to a rock star, Cosmo Sinclair, then tragedy, scandal, retreat.
It sounds very glamorous, but also kind of dark.
Totally. Glamour, mystery, betrayal.
Yeah.
It pulls you into that whole different era. But it's not just backstory.
Right, because the deeper stuff starts coming out.
Yeah.
Alice and Hayden realize Margaret's been holding back some major secrets.
And the twist, when it lands, it's a real gut punch. Hayden finds out this massive truth.
Yeah.
He's Margaret's grandson.
Wow.
And the whole competition, the biography pitch, it was all a ruse. A deliberate plan just to get him specifically to the island.
Oh, man. Just think about that. Finding out your whole professional shot was actually this deeply personal manipulation.
It's a huge betrayal on so many levels.
Yeah.
And obviously that puts immense strain on the relationship that's just started forming between him and Alice.
Understandably.
It throws that core question of trust right into the spotlight. Can they survive something like that level of deception?
So after that bombshell, where do they go? What happens with Alice and Hayden?
Well, there's conflict, obviously, but eventually reconciliation. And they make this really crucial choice. They choose each other over the biography deal.
Okay, so they prioritize the relationship.
Yeah. But the story doesn't just stop there. Margaret then publicly names Hayden as her biographer anyway.
Oh, interesting. So she sort of gives them a path forward professionally, even after their personal choice.
Kind of, yeah. It suggests maybe their ambitions aren't totally sacrificed. Meanwhile, Alice goes home, reconnects with her mom, and later on, they have a daughter, Laura. Ultimately, they build this life together based on, shared truth and storytelling. It emphasizes that deeper connection they found.
Let's maybe zoom in on the characters themselves. You've got Alice Scott, who we said is optimistic, but she's also carrying a lot, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Significant grief, her sister's illness, her father's death.
Right. And this deep, deep yearning for, journalistic credibility. She's fighting internal battles while chasing this huge career break.
Definitely. And then there's Hayden Anderson, the Pulitzer winner. Starts off pretty guarded, maybe a bit aloof.
Yeah, seems that way.
But you see his vulnerability emerge, especially through his connection with Alice. It softens him. And Margaret Ives.
Wow. She sounds incredibly complex.
Totally. The reclusive heiress, the tabloid princess. Her life covers wealth, fame, heartbreak, vanishing, and then this huge final revelation, a fascinating character arc.
And you mentioned Jody earlier.
Yes, Jody. Margaret's loyal protector. She's initially really skeptical of Alice and Hayden, these outsiders.
Understandable, given Margaret's past.
Right. But she eventually grows to respect Alice's sincerity. She represents a different kind of loyalty, almost like a chosen family bond.
Okay, so beyond the plot and these really rich characters, the book tackles some big themes. One that really stands out is this idea of truth versus narrative. It digs into how personal stories, how memory, how legacy, how all that shapes what we think is real.
Yeah, and how much of what we call truth is actually just, a story someone constructed.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much do the stories we tell ourselves, or the ones told about us, actually become our reality?
For sure. And the novel also explores love in all its forms, not just romantic love.
Right.
There's filial love, family bonds, even parasocial love, that weird one-sided connection we feel with famous people. Creative love, too. It shows how powerful and transformative love can be in all these different ways.
Another big one seems to be legacy and family secrets. It's not just about inheriting money, is it?
No, not at all. It's about the emotional baggage, the historical weight passed down through generations. Those secrets really define these characters and what happens to them.
Yeah, that feels central.
And finally, there's this deep dive into ambition and identity. Both Alice and Hayden are trying to figure out their careers alongside, their personal growth, their journey to being more emotionally honest.
That feels very relatable.
It really resonates, I think, because it's something lots of us grapple with, right? How do you chase your dreams without losing track of who you actually are?
So, speaking of how it resonates, how has the book actually been received? What are critics saying?
Well, Marie Claire pointed out that it's definitely a stylistic shift for Emily Henry.
Okay.
Balancing that romance she's known for with these deeper themes, memory, legacy, journalism ethics even.
Interesting.
And Vogue really highlighted her skill in bending genres and handling that complex structure, weaving the dual timelines and the emotional arcs together so effectively.
Just sounds impressive.
Hindustan Times, though, while they liked the mystery and charm, they did offer a slight warning.
Oh.
They suggested some diehard romance lovers might find the pacing a bit soggy on romance, was the phrase. Which is maybe a key thing for readers expecting purely a light, fast-paced rom-com. What do you think about that? Did it feel like a big departure for her fans?
I think that's a fair point. If you're coming only for the traditional romance beats, she's clearly stretching here, going into mystery, family drama.
Right.
And maybe that trade-off means a little less of that immediate zippy banter some fans expect right off the bat. It challenges the reader, maybe, but arguably pays off as something richer, more complex in the end.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Bookpage gave it a starred review, really applauding how she blended her signature romance elements with this epic intergenerational story.
I praise.
The Every Girl also loved the characters, calling them fully formed, and praised the emotional resonance. They noted it's as much about life itself as it is about love.
So summing that up, if you're already an Emily Henry fan, you like her witty, emotional style, this definitely delivers. But maybe expect more complexity, more mystery, deeper emotional currents than some of her earlier stuff.
Exactly. It's probably perfect if you enjoy character-driven stories, multi-layered relationships, and you appreciate that kind of nuanced portrayal and structural ambition.
Maybe think of it like this. If you enjoyed those big legacy-focused sagas, something like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah, good comparison.
But you still crave that sharp Emily Henry dialogue and the chemistry she writes so well, this book might be exactly what you're looking for.
It really is a unique blend. offer something substantial, I think.
Well, we hope this deep dive has given you all a clear, concise, but still thorough picture of Emily Henry's great, big, beautiful life.
Yeah.
It really does feel like a novel that's pushing boundaries for her mixing genres, diving into those messy, complicated parts of human experience in maybe a new way.
And it shows how things that seem separate, like a romance plot, a mystery plot, a family saga, can actually come together to create something, well, pretty profound.
Definitely.
It kind of invites us all to think about our own stories, doesn't it? And the secrets maybe hiding in our own families, how they shape who we become.
That's a great point. So maybe a final thought for you listeners. The next time you're reflecting on your own life's narrative, or maybe listening to someone else tell theirs, just consider what truths are actually being told. And what else? What might still be waiting just beneath the surface?